spook easily startled.
Have you ever explored the depths of fear? Have you ever wondered what depravity dwells within the imagination of a storyteller that prompts them to exhume horrors untold and expose those horrors to unsuspecting audiences? Some are repulsed, and some are shaken. However, there are those who are invigorated. So to those demented souls, we invite you to journey inward into the dark bowels of human imagination. Press play, and you will discover what's in the podcast.
The U.S. Defense Department has spent over $1 trillion on the most cutting-edge robot technology. Introducing RoboSanta Plus for the upcoming holiday season.
What are you going to do this fine Christmas Eve?
I was potentially going to go meet up with a dude. I've blown him off twice already, so...
Come on, get a drink with your old pal, Robbie.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
New animatronic state-of-the-art Santa Claus, featured at our own TW Bonkers, is now the subject of an international recall.
Santa?
What? This guy killed the kid next door! You hear that?
Or what?
What is that?
It's him.
Oh, Santa Claus?
Yeah, it's fucking
Santa
Claus!
Claus!
Have you heard from the boys down at the scene yet?
They're still down there counting bodies.
And welcome back to another edition of What's in the Podcast. It is Christmas 2025. And if you are watching this at Christmas 2025, congratulations. We made it through 1 year of Trump Erica 2.0. We made it. God, didn't think we would make it. 3 more years to go unless his heart gives out, which is looking more and more likely by the day. So you know what? All I want for Christmas is a hardcore coronary, you know? Oh yeah. We're going hard for Christmas this year. But speaking of going hard for Christmas, the first movie that we are tackling for our Christmas lineup this year comes from a director who is definitely a class all on his own, a director who definitely loves in-your-face DIY filmmaking at its finest. And since this past year, we actually got a chance to see one of his newest work, Jimmy and the Stigs. We decided to spend Christmas to salute another fantastic film in his resume, Christmas Bloody Christmas. And I could not think of a better person to talk about this with than the man who joined me to go see Jimmy and the Stigs, as Rob, our co-host for Shout the Devil. Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Yeah. So, how's Christmas for you, kicking off for you? I mean, how's the holiday season kicking off for you? Because as it is, as we record, it's November now. But what do you got? Any grandiose ambitions for the holiday season?
I'm gonna go outside and see what the temperature is, and then choose my wardrobe accordingly. And I'm going to do this every day in December.
Yeah, because another thing that surprised a lot of us today, we had a cold front come through, and actually it was nice, lovely, chill breeze. It was great. It was amazing. I was very delighted, very surprised. And in early November, if this is what's going to be like for the entire season, I'm totally 100% down for it. But Christmas Bloody Christmas, on the other hand, is a much colder film. You know, actually, though, this is the kind of winter where you could, given the fact that we've been through the wizarding world of Harry Potter, and we recognize soap sud snow when we see it. Christmas Bloody Christmas was a film that very clearly was a lot of that. But the most important thing here is that is from the director Joe Begos, who, for those who do know, he's definitely not as widely known as a lot of our other great horror auteurs. But in my opinion, I think he deserves attention because he's done incredible films like Almost Human, Bliss, VFW, which is probably the best siege film I've seen since Assault on Precinct 13, and of course just recently Jimmy and the Stigs. So as a lovely bit of foreshadowing, one thing I would love to do with you, Rob, in time is to get a chance to really plow through his resume, so that way maybe we could do a Maestros of Mayhem saluting him. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about Christmas Bloody Christmas. So did you hear about this before? Yeah, before you watched this with me, did you hear about this before at all?
Yeah, actually. First of all, it was there staring me in the face and Shudder just about every day. Back when it first showed up, and I didn't watch it for whatever reason. I don't remember if that was the same year that Violent Night came out or around one of the same
I think
years
it,
it came out.
yeah, it came out actually. I'll go ahead and get the specifics on that. It came out in 2022, and yeah, 2022 came out directly to Shudder for the Christmas season. And the film stars Riley Dandy, Sam Delich, Jonah Ray from Mystery Science Theater 3000, Dora Madison, with guest appearances from Jeff Daniel Phillips, Jeremy Gardner, and Graham Skipper and Kansas Bowling, and even Joe Begos himself has a cameo in there. And well, I kind of want to surprise you with who played the Santa
Oh,
character. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. No, that because it's someone who we know. It is someone who we knew and loved from our respective television watching childhood. So I'll save it for spoilers there. But
ooh.
yeah. So I guess to start, let's go ahead. Well, actually, in your early impressions of Joe Begos from these two films you've seen, Jimmy and the Stigs and this one, what's your early impressions of him thus far?
Simply put, he knows how to use visuals, and visuals. All of cinema is a visual genre. If we just wanted to see plays all the time, we'd go to the theater. But in horror, it's especially important. And a lot of the best horror auteurs have a notable style. And Bigos definitely has a notable style. Jimmy and the Stigs, there's a lot of ways you can go with an alien, pulpy, shoot 'em up. But he went in a way with very zany, bright neon design, which just made the whole thing a lot of fun, even though, it was played very straight. Basically, like you were watching somebody trying to convince somebody else that they weren't losing their mind in
Yeah.
spite of there being no evidence to support, their side.
Yeah, that's actually yeah, that's well, that was part of the fun of that movie the whole time. I mean, the movie establishes him to be to be a drug addict, to be a burnout, to be all these things that definitely strips the man of any sort of credulity whatsoever. So, yeah, it takes a while to determine whether or not everything that's happening to him is just the product of his, going in crazy from some drug-fueled rampage, or is he actually being attacked by aliens? So, yeah, and the movie and that movie he kind of well, the one thing I noticed with a lot of his movies, he seems to channel a specific, I guess you could say filmmaker, but also a particular type of subgenre or theme with each of the movies. I mean, Bliss is very much an addiction movie. It definitely in the same camp as Brain Damage, but in attitude, it's a vampire movie. But they use vampirism as a metaphor for addiction in that one. And um, VFW is a hardcore siege film with a great cast of veteran cult actors, including Stephen Lang, William Sadler, Fred Williamson, David Patrick Kelly, Martin Cove. Great lineup of actors, but it has the same attitude as Assault on Precinct 13. In many cases, I would even say it goes harder than Assault on Precinct 13. But that's the thing I love about his attitude is that he has no patience for sugarcoating. He doesn't sugarcoat shit. He just goes hard into it. So I think I officially fell in love with him when I saw Christmas Bloody Christmas. I just jumped in on it because it came out on Christmas and I was eager to see any new Christmas horror. And I do love me my good Christmas slashers, as I know you do. So that's actually a good talking point right there. So what's your general attitude towards Christmas slashers?
I enjoy a lot of them. The high water mark for me is probably the blackest hearted one, Black Christmas, of course, the original,
Oh yeah.
mostly because, it really just ties in none of the festive ho 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 part of the spirit. And it's largely a feel gloom movie that just steadily beats you with an oppressively dark atmosphere, like you're actually in the situation with them. Obviously, Christmas Evil, which we
Oh yeah.
saw several years ago. That one was
Yeah,
a
that's right.
classic.
Yeah, we did that on actually for reference, go to my YouTube channel of Narcotic Casserole. Look up our show Rare Delicacies, where we tackled that for Christmas. And actually stay tuned here. We will be doing a podcast episode on it this year. I lovingly call that movie The Taxi Driver Christmas.
Very fitting.
Yeah.
And I think there is just an allure to Christmas, the dark underbelly of Christmas. I still can't find it to this day, but there was a cartoon that we saw. I don't know if it was Merry Melodies or what. It took place at Christmas and involved somebody that basically broke into some kid's home and dressed up as Santa, trying to steal a whole bunch of stuff. And then he starts shooting a gun in the house. And at the end, he actually, yeah, it's like from the 40s or something.
Oh my
And then
God.
yeah, I know, but it's actually really funny because he feels bad for the kid at the end and actually, starts acting Santa-like. But I just remember my brother and I laughing at it. It's shit like that. People want to see, the dark side of Christmas. So that's where like Silent Night, Deadly Night
Oh
probably
yeah,
be.
that. Oh yeah, no, we talked at length about Lynn and I talked at length about that one in Silent Night Deadly Night 2 last year, and that one, that's the one that really, when people think Christmas slasher, that's the one that comes to a lot of like the layman's mind, just because that was the one that dared to call in. Funny enough, that was as we said before, that was a movie that was calling out something completely different, but ironically, the parents were attacking it for something that frankly they shouldn't have to begin with. But again, for reference, go to that particular podcast where we get linked at that one. But for me, I think a lot of it really just comes with the fact that we associate Christmas with the spirit of giving, the spirit of happiness, um, the spirit of love and harmony and all that jazz. So when something comes in to break that peace, and nothing breaks your peace more than a friggin' psycho with an axe or something to that effect, that's going to gotta have a bad day. Yeah, or gonna have a bad holiday. So, which brings us neatly to Christmas Bloody Christmas because this one is a hell of a bad night. So you want to go ahead and draw first blood and give us the brief synopsis, or actually, you do you want to just go ahead and just do talk through the synopsis of Christmas Bloody Christmas?
Yeah, absolutely. So starts out peaceful enough. This is not, your typical Hallmark Christmas movie with, all the families and their kids around the Christmas tree. This talks about a demographic of Christmas that doesn't get focused on as much in movies. These are, a bunch of single bachelors who don't have kids, don't have folks in town, and have to find something to do with themselves during the holiday. So what do on Christmas Eve when you fit into that category? Well, you bar hop until you can't bar hop anymore, and then you continue the drinking at home. And that's where this film starts.
Maker's name is Tori. Tori Toombs,
Tori, tip of my tongue.
played by Riley Dandy, and her employee at her record store, Robbie, played by
Robbie, I
Sam
remember.
Dellich. Oh yeah,
Yes. So Tori and Robbie begin the movie basically by working a shift in her record slash video store, very stylish hipster, not hipstery store. It kind of appeals to the metal demographic. There's a big thing that says
yeah.
Lemmy is God written on the wall.
Yeah, I was going to
Um,
ask you. I mean, given your insight, I would love to know what you. I remember when I showed this to you, I was really curious as your impression of these characters when you saw their record store and even just their general attitude. I was like, yeah,
these are
what was your response to them when you met them?
these are definitely very real archetypes that I see in the wild all the time. You could even go to Park Ave CDs in town and overhear conversations like we heard there. Although that store is a little bit more hipster than this one. This one's a lot cooler than no shade to Park Ave, but this one's a little more my speed. Um, like a lot of the conversations are the passionate things you do hear from fans of any genre of music, but especially darker music like metal. For example, I was even at it was a Pro Fanatica show recently where I was sitting out on the porch, kind of just listening to conversation, and I heard kind of a spirited debate, just like one of the ones that popped up in this movie, the Pet Cemetery discussion, pop up
Oh yeah.
amongst the metalheads outside. And there was no anger behind it. There was just excitement, people shouting out why this album was superior to this inferior one, and somebody on the other side challenging. But it was all approached, from the lens of fandom, people just passionate about things and talking about them as loudly as they possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the criticisms levied against this film, and you could tell the people who had these criticisms were people who probably never even set their toe into this particular world. Because when I first saw this movie, I felt that even before the carnage happens, I was falling in love with these characters because I knew damn well I have met characters like this. I have even at conventions, whether it be horror conventions or even just regular conventions, I have met these people and had these long, spirited, and profane, beautifully profane conversations. And there's always this wonderful, invigorating sense of not no spite, no hate, no shade, but just two people getting up in each other's face, being really passionate, and just have and very clearly enjoying each other's company as a result. And the movie takes its time with that. I think like the first 30 minutes is entirely comprised of Tori and Robbie just going through their evening right after they close up shop in preparation for Christmas. I mean, one of the major things they do is that they help a friend find a good Christmas record for another friend because they're dating, and that guy, of course, is played by Jonah from Mystery Science Theater 3000. But that's like at the beginning of it. But then he walks away, and then you just follow them as they cap off the night at the local bar, and then the movie just really wants you to feel the world of these characters and really makes you feel their ebb and flow and just their attitudes to each other. But I love that Joe Begos does not sugarcoat these characters. He does not water them down. He gives them to you double barrel, just full double barrel. These are what these characters are like. If you love them, you're going to be in for a ride. But if you don't love them, you're going to be in for the most agonizing 80 minutes of your life.
But what's not to love about them, though? I
I
mean,
love them. I think they're great.
just a bunch of kids, although she says she's 40 in the film, so definition of kid might vary,
Yeah.
but just a bunch of young adults who have kind of a melancholy about them. Both of them are, well, we assume Robbie is single and not just two-timing somebody on the side. But
Yeah. Well, unlike Tori, who when we meet her, she was about to go on I think a Tinder date with someone who we find out everyone knows is Emmett Eyeshadow, as they call him,
four
who
kid,
actually turns out to has like four kids.
yep, and that's the funny thing too, is you kind of get the impression that this is why Robbie doesn't want her to hang with him from the get-go, is that he has interest in her, but he never actually goes about it on those terms. He simply points out, oh, everybody in town knows this guy. He's a father of four. He sings really lame whisper music. Do you really want to spend your Christmas with this guy? And it's
I
true
love
that
that.
everybody does know him or know of him.
Yeah, Tori's like the only one, and she's like, "How am I the only person who doesn't know this fucking guy?" Kind of thing. Yeah, you do. And I remember when I started watching this, I'm like going, "Oh no, these two gonna fuck." Like before the chaos happens, these two are gonna get crazy with each other. And the thing I really will say I love about this particular courtship is that um, neither forces each other on it. It's just the idea that you see the chemistry just bubbling, 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 and then until the right moment when it just freaking explodes. And it feels so damn organic. I would love to know if they did improv, or at least did a lot of rehearsal with the actors having chemistry with each other. Because I don't. I always wonder the fine line between scripted dialogue versus improv dialogue because I've heard. I mean, of course, shows like What We Do in the Shadows or even The Thick of It. What I always hear is that they do script out the scenes, but they have many takes where the actors just improv the dialogue. They're like, so long as you get to point A, point B with the scene, improv whatever the fuck you want. So there's a part of me wondering if that's what they did with these actors for this movie.
They may have. I know in the special features, they did mention that a lot of the people in the cast kind of authentically live in this world. No, they said Tori doesn't. Tori was very much acting as, the
Okay.
metalhead, but
Yeah. Had it's all
explains
right.
her
That
explains her weird opinion on Super Unknown, but
yeah, that was a weird opinion. Hey, but you know what? I get her back. My hot take, I do not like Pet Cemetery, book, movie, any of them. But I will agree with her. Pet Cemetery 2, way better film. Much better film. No question. Clancy Brown for the fucking win, man. Enough said. Though I'd have to rewatch Blair Witch 2 before I can reevaluate, before I can agree with my opinion with her on that.
yeah, I wouldn't even be able to assess that opinion because I have not seen Book of Shadows. I've seen all the other ones,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I haven't seen Anna Wingard's film. I'll give it a shot, but I again, I had to reevaluate. But that's a story for a different day. But the one thing we haven't really harped on is the fact that yes, this is a Christmas slasher. So the Christmas slasher in question. Now, it'd be one thing if it was just a disgruntled killer Santa, as is usually tends to be the par for the course for most Christmas slashers. In this case, no. They decided let's this movie is what happens when Chopping Mall has a baby with Silent Night Deadly Night. It is a robot Santa. And through a great bit of early movie exposition with some fake commercials, it turns out there was a series of Santa bots that were being distributed to toy stores all over to be substitutes for mall Santas that have 90,000 vocabulary made from military grade hardware. And again, with just really great subtle visual storytelling, there's a cutaway to a news report saying that these robot Santas are being recalled due to software issues. So of course, you wouldn't have a Christmas slasher if we didn't know what the actual software issues are. And even better, it's not like anything really kicks it off other than just the glitch. There's no lightning strike or anything like that. It's just, oh no, bad timing right here, right now. It's gone bad.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting to do a slasher film. I mean, it's been done, but to do it with a robotic killer because so much of the genre really slasher films, I wouldn't compare them to Yellow films, but they did like to nick the first person POV kill style from Yellow films. And the thing is, a lot of the films, even though I wouldn't call most of the slasher genre character studies, a lot of them like you to put yourself in the mind of the killer. And well, can you really do that when it's a robot? So that forces a lot of the terror to come from situational moments and really the victims themselves and how they react to the situation. They create the terror. It's just like we've seen that movie Ed Wood, where
Yeah.
the character playing Bela
I mean,
Lugosi, the motor doesn't work on the octopus, so he has to pretend that this inanimate octopus is strangling him, and
yeah.
that's what you have to
Yeah.
do.
Fuck, it's cold. Yeah, yeah, fuck you, you'll get in there. Yeah. Oh yeah, classic scene. Yeah, but and another thing that is great about this is that we don't have to think about the motive. I think you kind of alluded to this, but the motive of the killer, we don't have to think about it. We just need to know robot goes haywire. That's all we need. And that's good because we've spent so long because that's all we need to know to kick off the events so we can keep our focus on where we've been focusing on our characters. So we already have a credible threat, one that we actually are like going, oh my God, how are these kind of characters, how are they going to deal with, of all things, a robot fucking Santa? And I will say flat out, they establish how powerful this damn thing is because the first kill of the movie is Jonah himself. Of course, I never think I'd ever in my life I'd ever see an MST3K host visiting the back door of someone in a toy store, but and see his ass jiggling up and down. But I saw it. Now it's off the bucket list. But the robot Santa grabs a freaking fire axe and just cleaves him in half. It's not even up like the head, normally it'd just be the head, but no, right down the middle, all the way down to the
Clean
ass.
split.
Yeah,
Yep.
pure Art the Clown style vivisection right there, which is glorious and fast, and it was visceral and it was nasty. And it was so good. It was such a great move doing POV shots for these early kills, just to kind of show the coldness and also the actually, I don't know, do you ever seen the movie by Stephen Norrington, Death Machine?
I have not.
Okay, that one involves also a killer robot. And that one has like these hyperactive POV shots where you can kind of see how smooth and how efficient this killer robot is. This movie kind of reminded me of that in a way. It didn't have the same energy, but it had the idea that this robot Santa is very smooth and unflappable, and basically nothing can hold him back and nothing is slowing him down. So it does a great job establishing that this is a powerful fucking robot that is going to be a bitch to kill.
Yeah, absolutely. When you set the bar high like that, basically you've created the ground rules for the universe. So in a way, it's a way to build effective terror in that, when you're watching one of these movies, whether you want to or not, you're kind of dissecting how do I think, our protagonists are going to emerge from this, or, if they even are going to, how do you disable this monster? And because it's a robot, now the rules are a little bit different than if it's just a flesh and blood human being. There's no supernatural involved. But now you also know the power of the machine. So now you start to picture what the stakes are. It frames the stakes nicely.
Hmm. Yeah, and among the first things we see it do, like, well, the first when the plots kind of collide, when Tori finally is realizing, oh shit, this is happening, this robot Santa follows them, but it ends up going into their neighbor's house. And again, because the great thing about this being a robot is that it kills indiscriminately and it doesn't give a shit what it is, because not only do the mother and father get killed, a little kid gets absolutely wrecked in this sucker. And again, movie doesn't hold back. I mean, granted, it doesn't show the kid death, but they still have some good shots alluding to the brutality of it.
Yeah, you see
I,
the swing.
yeah, just the big old swing. In fact, funny enough, it actually goes a slight bit further than Terrifier 3 did, when you see Art the Clown going in the bedroom and you just hear the thwacking of the axe, but you don't see it. You see the aftermath though, but you don't see the actual initial death. Whereas in this one, you're seeing the Santa bury the axe, in through a window. You're seeing him bury the axe in something, and we know it's the kid. And that's all there is to it. And this is what I said. This is what I say all the time. You want to raise the stakes and show that the killer is a force to be reckoned with and doesn't give a shit. Kill the thing that is not commonly killed in a horror film, and that is a kid. In this case. And
It
yeah, well, yeah.
saved him from a life of foster homes.
Yeah.
The whole family just gets wiped out like that.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Of course, it's a good thing it's a modern day uh Christmas movie, because I swear to God, if I was that kid and I saw this Santa walking up to me, my first thought, and this relates to who's playing Santa in this sucker, I would go Larry Kubiak, because that's who's playing it. Freaking Abraham Ben Ruby, who, yeah, you watch the show Parker Lewis Can't Lose. I know you did, because I sure
Yeah,
shit did. Oh yeah, Larry
Corendemic,
Kubiak,
man.
Corendemic, you know. Yeah, Parker Lewis Can't Lose, at least until he did Rotten Tail.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Where can I watch Parker Lewis Can't Lose? I want to rewatch that show. That show was my
I don't know what it's
that
streaming on.
I
That's a
don't
good
know,
question.
man. That's a good question. To me, that was the show that the Ferris Bueller TV show was trying to be.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a fair assessment. I barely
Yeah.
remember. I do remember a couple of episodes of the Ferris Bueller TV show. Wasn't
I
Jennifer
get I
Aniston
get
on that?
Yes, she was. Well, she played the Jennifer Grey character, which all things considered, that's not bad casting, to be honest, actually. That's actually pretty good casting. But either way, but yeah, Parker Lewis Can't Lose. That was a show that, well, the thing I liked about that show is that it was absurdist. It was like almost like an absurdist, very heightened reality high school show. I think my favorite thing was the running gag with the principal. She was a great principal character. My favorite thing about her was the running gag where whenever she left her office, her door would all the window in the door would always smash. Like she would always break the damn window of the door. But my favorite time is when she goes out the door, it swings open, but the window doesn't break, and then she looks pissed off at the door, and then the glass just breaks on its own. Doesn't even do
Of course.
anything.
Very Three Stooges.
Oh yeah, but Abraham Benrubi played like the big monolithic bully character who's kind of a sweet-natured character. He was like a big old lug who periodically was like an ally to Parker, but every now and then he was still like a big, powerful, like monolithic bully character. So, but that I remember him from that. But then later on, he played a drastically different character in ER. Yeah, for the longest time. So to find him in this, well, and I think yeah, he did actually have a character in Bliss as well. So he had worked with Joe Begos before, but to see him here playing a giant robot Santa, I thought was brilliant. It was inspired.
Yeah, he did very, very well
Mm.
at playing a robot.
Yeah. Well, and people don't think about how legitimately difficult it actually is to be a robot. You gotta, I mean,
Ask
people,
Robert Patrick.
yeah, ask Robert Patrick. Well, Robert Patrick, the benefit of him is that he's an advanced model, so he was allowed to show a little bit of emotion, whereas Arnie had to be like full blown emotionless robot right there. I mean, I suppose it's like levels of intelligence. I think you have to think about the context of what type of robot this is versus like when you think of something like Westworld, where the whole point of them is that they are artificial intelligence, so they have emotion or they have feelings and the like. But this, on the other hand, not artificial intelligence. This sucker is just a balls out, literal killing machine. And pretty much when the carnage starts on this sucker, I'd say it's nonstop. Just
Yeah. Once it gets going, it's because it takes so long for the first kill to happen in the film. It's just basically a melee after that point. It's just like cat and mouse pursuit. He's not after specific people. He's just basically after anybody that appears in his path because of his military training, where
yeah,
everybody's the enemy that he sees because
yeah,
nobody else has a Santa outfit.
yeah. And he's fixating specifically on Tori because she's the one that just keeps getting away. So he's going to keep following her because like target acquired and the like. And man, poor Tori, just throughout the run of the movie, I mean, she gets like completely ravaged throughout the course of it. I mean, bad enough that her brother and sister, well, her sister and her dumbass, I think she was just her sister's boyfriend.
Yeah, I think
Both of
so.
them just yeah, both of them get completely wrecked. But I admit I was shocked, and full spoilers here, people, but I was shocked that Robbie got killed so early on.
Pour some out.
Yeah, yeah, poor.
And they did it very quickly too. It was around the point where normally you think you're about to set into a couple of survivors,
Mm,
taking off in a car and very much plotting their survival like in Terminator. And Kyle Reese in this one basically gets smashed in the dome with an axe, like right smack dab in the
yeah,
middle of his
nice.
frontal
Yeah,
lobe.
nice. Yeah, nice side swipe right into his brain right there.
I
And
mean, if
it
he had
and it kind of makes you
survived,
yeah. Yeah, because it makes you sad because prior to this, like right before it all kicks off, him and Tori actually like you see them hook up and to his credit, dude is not a greedy lover. He is a giving man. First thing he does, and he does it specifically to prove a point that he knew how to find the spot because man, first thing he does, he goes south of the border,
south of the border.
goes yeah, and just and even better is that they foreshadow that because earlier he was having a conversation with him about making the claim that, guys just don't know how to do it right.
And she learned something.
Well, she learned something about
People
him
named Rob or
specifically.
Robbie.
Yeah, people. Rob, buddy. No, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask. That is entirely your business. Entirely your business. It just occurred to me. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Took you a second, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. But ladies, his name is Robert Del Medico, and he is definitely a lovely individual. Seek him out. Yeah. Seek him out. He is virile and he is handsome. Anyway, but yeah, so it is legitimately sad because it's that thought of this could have been the best Christmas of Tori's life, just completely shattered, just completely destroyed, and through no fault of her own. That's the other thing that's just so brilliant about this is that she had no control. None of the characters had any control over this incident. This is just something. It's not even like Chopping Mall where you could say like these kids kind of walked into this by having the party in the mall where the security bots are running around. But in this case, it's like, no, these people were just going about their day. It's just unfortunate circumstance that this goddamn robot just is fixated on them.
It was a proximity killing. He leaves the mall and just goes in a straight line, and that's where he wound up.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much exactly. And then just kept tailing Tori until finally it just came down to a head between the two of them. And even worse, that after that, she just gets no end of shit from an insanely stressed out police force. That gets even worse when the cops keep getting killed. And unfortunately, she approaches the cops covered in blood and driving a stolen police car. So that's not a good look.
Yeah, well, you're stressed on these types of nights because usually the calls you're getting are unfortunately, drunken things like drunk driving, vehicular accidents, or domestic abuse. So, you're already not getting the fun calls as it is, but usually you're not losing any of your force that day, especially
Mm-hmm.
not in a town that size.
Yeah, in a town that size, which again, the first 30 minutes of this movie are great because they are able to establish the fact that this is very clearly a town that everyone knows each other. One of the major things, as a point, is when they're at the bar after they close up shop, the sheriff shows up. The sheriff played by Jeff Daniel Phillips, who Rob Zombie fans will know. He was in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He was in Lords of Salem, and also he was in The Munsters. In my opinion, did a wonderful job playing Herman in the Munsters movie. But here he is playing the sheriff, and they establish that the sheriff is kind of burned out. He's a divorcee, put upon because he keeps the family dog. He's someone and he's worn thin and also kind of a bit of an alkie because, yeah, it's Christmas. He's a divorcee. Yeah, and you make a strong point because this movie is entirely focused on the people who pretty much have every right to hate Christmas.
Yeah, they're the left behinds. I mean, the guy
Yeah,
running the bar, he has four kids at home, so he's mentioning, I got to get out of here because I have four kids that are going to wake me up in 4 hours. But like everybody
yeah,
else is
but
just kind of lonely and wandering.
even then, the bartender still indulges Tori and Robbie and all them by just yeah, I got to close up, and they say one more, but then they're like, he keeps pouring them more, so it's like, do you really
It
want to go
keeps,
home, dude?
yeah, it's something keeping
Yeah.
him there too.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's great that they take the time to establish all this because then by the time you finally Tori gets to the sheriff, you actually do see that it's not going to be a case where the sheriff doesn't know this person is going to be dismissive or going to be cold. In this case, the sheriff is actually, a good guy who says, "I know you, and this is not normal behavior for you. I mean, yeah, we've been drinking, and I know you're a stoner." But even then, stoners don't do this. Stoners don't act like this. This is not the OG reefer madness.
Yeah, well, it's not PCP. We don't have superhuman strength from, being being high.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, you got the other cop who is just hell bent to just pin it all on her, just because he's emotional about the fact that one of his colleagues got killed. And yeah, she's approaching him covered in blood, so he's hell bent to just say it was all you, it was all you. But even better is that, and I get, and that makes for good conflict normally, but I will say it does wear on my nerves if they draw it out too long, depending on the execution. This one, no, mercifully, they don't dwell on that plot thread too long because no time flat. Santa shows up with a stolen ambulance and just completely wrecks the freaking police department.
Yeah, it does it fast and brutally in another Terminator-esque scene. And he doesn't drive through the building, but he basically drives the vehicle into another vehicle, causing an explosion close enough to the building that shrapnel flies through the building, which
Yeah.
pretty cool framing that actually.
hmm Oh yeah, a lot of good. Actually, you're right. A lot of good framing in that sequence in general. There's a great moment of tension where Tori's hiding under a desk with a shotgun. Now, the cool thing about this and where the tension lies is that we're watching the Santa in the background flipping desks like they're IKEA and flipping them like they're nothing. So there's nothing stopping him from just approaching the desk that she's hiding under and just lifting that up like it's nothing and just finding her. So she is like, she knows that this is a borrowed time hiding place because there's nothing saying that Santa's going to come by and just flip that shit. So she has got to be ready. But even worse is that the shotgun's not loaded, so she's got to load that thing very silently too. So great moment of tension right there. But there's wait, and even then, I think it's all done in a oneer as well. While you're in the background flipping it while she's loading it up. So well done.
Absolutely effective scene, yeah. And we don't even know the stealthy capabilities of the robot. We don't really, because we don't get a ton of POV shots. We don't know how well its hearing is, whether it even has heat sensors to see you in the dark. So you have to kind of assume those capabilities when you're planning your escape and don't just think that, oh, the robot's vision is based on movement like Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah. Yep. I mean, all we know about this thing is just once it's got its eye on you, it doesn't let up. But Tori manages to get out of the police station, take the ambulance, and again, the one thing I do love about a good robot killer, anything, is the idea of Jesus Christ, how much is it going to take? How much of a beating is this thing going to take before it's going to be out of commission? So many times in this movie, they it almost gets comedic how much they draw it out about how much punishment this thing's going to take before it's finally done.
Yeah, he gets battered a bit, but you can tell pretty early he's not going to be physically destroyed, not with something a lot more heavy duty. And Tori figures that out early on and is going for more scientific ways, whether
Yeah,
it's, using the taser to scramble circuits, using the sprinkler system in her store to, get water in the electronics and fry
yeah.
him that way.
Um, blow him up with the ambulance as well. She even resorts to a display only sword broadsword that she has in her shop, which I'm like, wait a minute, that thing if that thing is legitimately strong and sharp, you have that thing on display in your shop?
Yeah, that's a liability.
That is a major liability right there. But hey, it did fine for a bit. But yeah, it all culminates in a fine. That's the movie also does a great full circle thing because the movie really technically begins in the record shop, but then it all comes full circle where it ends in the record shop for the final showdown. And most other final girls or horror heroines, as I like to call them, most of the time, they just have like, very delicate cosmetic cuts or anything like that. Like Tori, no. Tori takes a freaking beating in this sucker.
It loses fingers and everything.
Yeah, loses fingers, messes up, fucks up her foot bad on this sucker. There was a little part of me in this movie because this is obviously not going to be set up to be a franchise. So I was thinking to myself, like, going, could she actually legitimately die in this sucker?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
never really ruled out. I still didn't think it was likely, but you never knew.
yeah. Well, just the rate that she was getting screwed up. I mean, especially when she lost her fingers, that was shocking. Even though there was a point where I was like, "Well, get your hand off the counter, get your hand off the counter, get off the oh fuck." Yeah, but even then, most movies when you see them do that, normally it's that point where they pull their hand away right before the axe
Yeah, it's
lands. But no,
teasing.
in this case, no, they just flat out cut off her fingers, and I'm just like, oh my god, this poor woman. She is, if she didn't hate Christmas before, she is gonna friggin' denounce it after that because it's like it's fucking Christmas, made those goddamn Santas. She's gonna use that association thing to disparage Christmas. Like, no, I'm gonna start the war on Christmas, bitch, and I have a better claim than anyone else does. Mhm.
Ultimately, you don't really know how things are going to end in this one.
As it winds up, and I will say, man, you're right about that shop. I was like, well, I did love that shop, and it pained me to see it get completely trashed like that. Any record shop that has a Spookies poster,
We
man,
watch Spookies. Such a
it's a very
confusing.
confusing movie. Yeah, God, any place that honors the majesty of Spookies is a place that deserves to be preserved at all costs. So it did pain me to see the store get completely wrecked as a result of it. But yeah, that is how we end up where Tori finally, yeah, and yeah, she does the sprinklers, skewers it with a sword, but ultimately, yeah, she just hits it with a live wire, and finally the damn thing explodes, leaving Tori in full Sally Hardesty mode on the cold, wet street. Christmas is dawning, and she's just bloody and just laughing like a goddamn maniac, just because she's like happy she survived. And in all likelihood, probably gonna have to walk to the hospital because, I'm pretty sure the only ambulance drivers are dead too.
Yeah, all the first responders got dealt with. You got to bring in the stadies now.
Actually, I think they even talked about that. Well, I think that she even said, "Why aren't you getting the stadies or like getting the state police to come in?" And I think he even says, you realize how hard that's going to be. It's fucking Christmas Eve, to get them over here. And I think he was about to, but then that's right when the robot Santa showed up. So, oh man. So at the tail end of it, after I was done showing this one to you, like, what was your final feel of it after they wrap up?
I enjoyed it a lot mostly because Begos tends to play things straight in these scenarios, which seem a little bit outlandish. Like even in Jimmy and the Stigs, it's a pretty outlandish scenario, but he plays it very straight with the character. I mean, there's funny moments, but the characters are very real about their feelings. And same thing here, Killer Robot Santa in the 80s, this thing would have had a ridiculous soundtrack with like Van Halen, and people would have been cracking beers throughout, and there'd have been one-liners throughout. But here, it's not really about that. They actually take the premise seriously, which actually makes it, work and effective. It's about, how serious your characters treat the danger. And they weren't going for parody, they weren't going for broad strokes. They were basically, what if this actually happened?
Yeah.
And very grounded.
Yeah, and very grounded and doesn't over explain anything. It just simply says the Santa's military tech, it's being recalled because there's a glitch, and that's all you need to know. And because they keep it simple, you don't need, and a lot of times people think like when it comes to like filling in logic gaps or the dubious concept of plot holes, they think they have to over explain in order to fill those holes, but sometimes keep it simple and that's all you really need. You don't need more than that. And that's precisely what this movie does because it's very clear that their heart is more focused on the characters and just the idea that these are people who probably just don't care for Christmas, who just try to make the best of it. And unfortunately, and you could, I'm sure it's a stretch. I mean, Lord knows it's a stretch, and you could say I'm projecting onto it, but you could say there is a theme of corporate commercialism run amok where it ends up, and the people who end up suffering for it are the people who don't deserve it, who just are just trying to live day to day and just trying to actually have a life. And they're the ones who wind up getting fucked because of it, because of corporate negligence.
Yep. It's basically, we rolled out this product and it was very much not ready for prime time, which,
Yeah.
government manufacturer of military equipment decides to have a special toy division. You start to wonder if cross-contamination is going to happen even from the onset. Like, did we maybe use some of the same tech we used for our killing machines for our toys and maybe not to scope out the beta testing enough before we rolled this thing out?
You know what? In my brain, I'm like thinking, oh my God, it's a small soldier's Christmas.
Yeah, that's apt.
Because quite literally, this is in a way the same plot of Small Soldiers because that's what happens in that is that they're toys that get infused with military tech, and unfortunately, their programming, turns them into actual soldiers who run amok. So I'm like, yeah, you could say that this is kind of that same ilk, that kind of same thing. So yeah, a Small Soldiers Christmas. There you go, people. Tell the kids.
Ho,
So
ho,
all
ho.
right. Ho, 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 indeed. So, with that, go ahead and give me your top kill of Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Well, it's hard to really go with any but the first one, only because of its sheer brutality. I mean, I would say from a technical perspective, Robbie's was probably more impressive to me because having to do the face means, having to do a quick cutaway to get the prosthesis in there and everything. But the very first kill where he split down the middle, it doesn't get much more brutal than that and very much sets the tone. Very well done on a
Hmm.
technical standpoint, but also from a framing standpoint.
Yeah. And actually, as a point to note for everybody, this movie originally came about because Joe Begos was approached to do a reimagining of Silent Night, Deadly Night, one to which we will be getting later on this month. But that was what he wanted to do. But he pitched the script of the Robot Santa, and they were like going, "This isn't Silent Night, Deadly Night." And Joe Begos like going, yeah, if you watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, there's friggin' killer toys and a robot eunuch who dry humps a woman saying, "I love you, mommy." So I think it's safe to say Joe Begos understands Silent Night, Deadly Night better than you give credit. But but as history goes, they parted ways for creative differences, but he kept the script and decided to make his Robot Santa movie, Killer Santa movie anyway. And I'm really happy for it. For my top kill, just for sheer shock value, just because honestly, I was expecting that they would be the couple who would make it all the way to the end. I legitimately expected Robbie to make it. So when Robbie got killed, I was legitimately shocked when he got killed. And yeah, brutal, nasty kill. But in the end, I was just more shocked that he got killed because in any other slasher, it would be hell, even like most Friday 13th movies, like part 8 or even part 7, usually, like if it's a couple, a lot of times they'll make it out in the end. Though we're still
Or at
debating if
least,
Paul.
yeah, at least
Huh?
he'll normally last a little bit longer.
Exactly. Exactly. So in this case, the fact he dies so early on really shocked the hell out of me. So that is definitely my feeling on the matter. So yeah, that is Christmas Bloody Christmas. It is a Shudder original, so you can find it there. I was able to get a hold of the Blu-ray when it came out when they initially released it. It has pretty much the kind of features that you usually get from a Blu-ray that's directly sent out from a streaming service. I mean, Shudder, to their credit, with their Blu-rays, they do a pretty good job at least giving you some kind of features to it. So, so that's food for thought right there. But by and large, just go ahead and watch it on Shudder. And speaking of watching things, it's been some time, have you watched anything? So, for your random recommendation.
Not a new movie, but I did manage to catch Cannibal Holocaust in a theater recently.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, my work schedule and when they were showing it, I would have happily joined you for that. I would have loved to have been in if
It
there's any
was
way I'd
something.
watch it again. Yeah. Okay. So how was you went to go see it at the Enzion. How was the house?
I think they said there was about 80, 90 people or so, and it wasn't like a loud crowd. They weren't like shouting when stuff happened because it's not that kind of a movie. But
No.
it was definitely a bunch of devotees that knew what they were into. Also, there were some first timers like me, but because that's a great way to check out a movie for the first time is to go on a cult classic night. But it was definitely
Yeah.
a lot of people there to see the turtle scene, apparently.
Oh yeah, no, that turtle scene
Yeah.
is just that turtle scene is harsh. Yeah. Oh man, I would have loved if there's any reason I'd ever rewatch I Cannibal Holocaust, that's a movie that periodically I rewatch just to see how I'm holding up, just to see if I'm getting tougher. Because that is not an easy fucking film to watch. I mean, that's a film I salute because it does exactly what it set out to do, but it is not a film. That is one of those films when someone asks if, should I watch it? I go at your own risk. Just that is I won't stop you from watching it, but I will warn you, it is not an easy watch. So, yeah. Actually, for myself, speaking of a film that I just watched recently, that's not an easy, that is like a series, a big old mess of fucked up. Recently, there was a film on Tubi called Match. That was directed by Danishka Esterhazy, who did the Banana Splits movie and the wonderful Slumber Party Massacre reboot, which we did do an episode on a long time ago. Match tells is it's a movie with a lot of vibes of movies like definitely movies like Fresh, definitely a lot of a little Soup Song Barbarian in there. Though there's even a lot of Toby Hooper's The Funhouse and even Mother's Day. So it is
Ooh.
a yeah, it is a nasty little film with some severely fucked up moments, which I applauded for it. It's a film I actually will tell people, give it a go, and I will not, and just don't tell. I will say go in blind. Do not say. I won't even tell you the full extent of the fucked uppery of it. But man, goddamn, nasty fucking movie, and I had a great time watching it. I think my only note is that the heroine character can be frustrating. I'm not going to do the whole, oh, you making stupid decisions. I would do the different. It's like, oh, yeah, really? The situation here, you're actually going to act the way you're claiming that you're going to act. No one's going to act rationally in a situation that you're presented to in this movie. And, but yeah, that is a Tubi original, and I do strongly recommend it. I also caught Predator Badlands
Ooh.
this past, yeah, Predator Badlands. I've it's been getting some backlash from a lot of people who want their Predator movies hardcore and being all like, and people bitching about PG-13, but I'm like going, that's because there's no human characters here, people. And the whole rule of the PG-13 is that, it's only going to be an R if it's realistic human gore. In this case, it is a predator on a alien planet killing other aliens with multiple color blood or synthetic androids. So lay the hell off. Apart from that, it does not move the way any other Predator movie goes. In this case, a Yautja is the focal character, and they go on their own personal journey. Again, there have been people being like, going, "Oh man, they neutered the Predator." It's like going, this one character is not the entire race. In fact, the whole point of the movie is the fact that he's not like any of the other ones. So it is a personal journey for one character. Freaking racists claiming that just because one behaves it, the rest of them have to behave like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that is racist against Yautja. Shame on you. So, but I dug the hell out of Predator Badlands. It was just another example of showing a new side to the Predator lore, which I really, really dug. So, I recommend it completely. So, this is the start of our Christmas lineup. After this, Lynn and I are going to be doing a. We've discovered we accidentally created a tradition on the podcast for Christmas where we do a double feature where we actually review two movies at once for episode. First, we did Jack Frost parts 1 and 2. Last year we did Silent Night, Deadly Nights 1 and 2. So this year we are tackling Gremlins, and just for shits and giggles, Gremlins 2, right on time for the major announcement that we are getting a Gremlins 3, finally.
Yes.
And yeah, and then after that, Natalie's coming over so we can tackle Christmas Evil. And right on time for its release, we are going to be doing, we're going to catch the um, revival of the reimagining of Silent Night, Deadly Night, directed by Mike P. Nelson, starring Rohan Campbell, who is everyone's favorite character from Halloween Ends. Yeah, everyone's favorite character, Corey Cunningham. And
Love
then
Corey.
Oh yeah, I love Corey. Yeah, you actually know we went to go see Halloween Ends together, and both you and I, you, me, and Lynn all busted out laughing when that bastard kids hit the hardwood floor like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, well, mostly because we didn't expect it.
Yeah, we didn't expect it. Of course, I kind of busted out too because you could hear the little kid version of the Wilhelm scream as the thing hit the ground.
Oh yeah, that was. You knew it was coming as soon as you saw
You
him
knew, you knew.
flying.
Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was bliss. Oh man, it was great. But all right. And then, of course, at the end of the year, me and Matt Kanopka are going to reunite for the third annual Belial Awards to reflect on 2025 year in horror. So we've got our lineup planned out for the year. And then I got to realize, oh shit, what I got for the next year? I gotta plan that shit now. Ah!
Yeah, man.
Oh man, you always try to get ahead of shit, then it also just sneaks up on you. All right, everybody. So, hope your Christmas holiday season starts off great. Don't stop giving Starbucks shit over the look of the cups. They look actually pretty good this year. Just enjoy the frickin' peppermint mocha. Come on. All right. And if you wish to delve into the dark bowels of human imagination, ask yourself the simple question: what's in the
What's in the
podcast?
podcast?
Do we need to do that again? Yeah, let's do that again. 1, 2, 3.
What's
What's in the
in the pod?
podcast? Okay, I'm gonna blame a delay. There's a delay. We got a delay. What's in the podcast?
Thank you for joining us on this edition of What's in the Podcast. If you find yourself hungry for more deep cuts into the gloriously morbid and macabre, you can also find us on TikTok, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Narcotic Casserole. You can also follow us on Instagram at Narcotic Casserole 25. Follow us if you dare.